Hello again. Uh, this is my next in the sessions of meditation. I hope you have enjoyed my previous ones. So I'm going to continue to do the same thing for next few ones. In between, I'll probably change the subject so that people then don't get bored about the meditation and its instruction. We in the past talked about the position, the direction, the holding some stuff and whatnot. And then in last few, we started talking about the eightfold process, what's called Ashtanga Yoga. About it in Sanskrit, it is called Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So in the Yama, there were things that we need to follow as change in our behavior. Niyama, there are certain things that again the same way, but there are do's and don'ts. So the first ones are what you should not do, that is Yama. What you should do is Niyama. Asana is a posture, the pranayama is a breathing technique, then certain things are behavioral changes to pratyahar, and then the last three are dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, which means what you should hold on to, what you should concentrate on, and then ultimate goal is of course the samadhi. So we were talking about what you should not do, which is yama. There are five of them. One is, of course, non-violence. The other one is telling the truth. The third one is not stealing. That's what we covered in our previous ones. The next two are brahmacharya, which means celibacy, and aparigraha, which means not to hoard anything. So I'm going to talk about the brahmacharya today. If I get a time, I'll move to the next one. Otherwise, we'll talk about it next time. So on a brahmacharya or celibacy, people are going to complain saying, how can you be celibate all the time? And again, I understand that. In the ancient India or in the ancient time, the life was divided into four segments. The first one was studentship, or during that time when the young kid to the young teenager and even reaching an adult life, we were supposed to study. To have a full concentration for the study, we were told not to engage in sex. So the first one was brahmacharya or celibacy. The next one was when you had the family, after which, after 25, 30 years of having a family, you were semi-retired and then you were completely retired. So those were the four sections of life that were followed by previous ones. If one wants to be successful in concentration, the mind cannot be distracted or disturbed by thinking about other sex or about sexual actions. And interestingly enough, there are several ways that we can engage into it. The God has created a male and a female so that they get attracted to each other, have a sex, and produce the kids so that the continuation of human beings is there. Same holds true about every other animal. The trees, of course, need the help from the birds and the bees to transfer or do cross pollination. But in the animal kingdom and in the human beings, there is a major difference. In animal kingdom, they have sexual desires and sexual act only when the female is in heat. Other than that, they don't do it. In human beings and to some extent chimpanzees, our immediate ancestor, we tend to engage in sexual activity even without need for procreation. The procreation is necessary. Procreation is needed for continuation of our species. But human beings tend to human beings continue to have sexual activity without need for procreation. And if one wants to have a better success in concentration, in meditation, he must avoid it or she must avoid it. So the process starts with a look. So when you look at a opposite sex and appreciate the beauty that the God has created, that level is fine. But if you continue to think about it, that becomes the second stage. So you see and then you start thinking about it and you continue to think about it over and over again, which creates a impression on your mind. So when you are trying to concentrate at the time of meditation, that concentration is disturbed by thoughts about opposite sex. The next step comes as kirtan, or talking about it. So you meet your friends or somebody and then you start talking about certain opposite sex person or persons, and that causes more impression, more disturbance in the thought process. Next comes is you start meeting. Again, this is all causing more and more deeper and deeper impression about the opposite sex, which disturbs your mind more and more. Next one comes is a making a jokes which are sexually provocative or indirect way of suggestions. And next, the from that you start meeting, and the next step, of course, is having a sex. So if one wants to follow a celibacy, he needs to avoid looking at opposite sex with a perverted or with sexual intentions. He needs to stop thinking about it. He or she needs to stop about talking about it. He or she needs to stop suggesting indirectly with vulgar sexually oriented jokes and conversation. And certainly don't have to meet someone in private, and that can avoid the next step, which is actually the sexual actions. So this is a chain of about 8 different things that are described in yoga that happens, and slowly and steadily man or a woman gets into trap of sex. And the sex, like any other action, is not necessarily satisfying because it creates more thirst. So if you remember what I had said before about circle of mind, you do an action, action leads to an impression, impression leads to a desire, desire leads to an action, action leads to an impression, and so on and so forth. So this circle of mind is so true about sex, or for that matter, any other addictive thing. And this continues to create problems in the concentration. Because when you are trying to concentrate on God, cross, deity, Mary, whatever it may be that you have chosen, the thoughts will come regarding opposite sex. Then you will think about the actions that you might have taken, about the things that you might have said, or other person has responded in positive or negative way. And this particular thing continues to disturb the mind. So all of the things that I was talking about so far, and in the future I'll be talking about it, to avoid the disturbed mind, to avoid mind getting scattered all over, one must follow these things as much as possible. As far as sex is concerned, for sex for reproduction is fine. Sex with your own spouse is fine. However, indiscriminate sex will certainly lead to disturbed mind. So ideally, one should have sex only with the spouse, that is married persons. One should have sex only when they're thinking about reproduction. And I can see that most of the people are going to be turned off by this statement. And not have sex randomly with random people, but not have sex even randomly with your own spouse. Again, this is very difficult or impossible for many people. But if one wants to achieve some levels of meditation, he or she must follow these things. So if you remember the ahimsa, which is non-violence, the satya, which is telling the truth, the next one was the asteya, which is not stealing. These all actions, if we carry, then our mind will not be disturbed. Our mind would be much more calmer. And same thing holds about following celibacy. Celibacy has special importance as it disturbs human minds much more than many other things. Like if I had lied or I have stolen a pencil or pen or paper or some nonsense from somebody, I'm not going to think about it too much. If I've lied sometimes, I'm not going to think about too much. But if I've had attraction or committed sexual action, that is going to be much more disturbing than any other thing. So celibacy becomes an important part of meditation. I hope you like this video. and you subscribe to it. Thank you for watching.